Since the outbreak of the Syrian crisis in 2011, the conflict has not been merely a confrontation between the regime of President Bashar al-Assad and the opposition, but rather part of internal transformations and hidden conflicts between wings of the regime itself. Today, after more than 13 years of war, the features of a new conflict have begun to take shape between the old regime represented by the old guard of the state and its security services, and the new regime that external forces are trying to impose within the structure of government. What is the nature of this conflict? Who are the main players in it? And what is its impact on the future of Syria? 1. What is the old regime in Syria? The term old regime refers to the traditional ruling class that has remained in control of the country since the era of the late President Hafez al-Assad until today. This regime consists of the security and military establishment. This is the basic structure of government in Syria, and includes agencies such as Air Force intelligence, military security, and political security, which were and still are the backbone of the regime, the Assad family, and the inner circle surrounding it. This includes loyal businessmen, security service leaders, and prominent officials whose power has been consolidated over the past decades, bureaucratic and party elites, loyal to the Ba'ath Party, who benefited from the political and economic privileges provided by the regime. Point 2. The emergence of the new regime. How has the balance of power changed? With Syria entering a long-term war, new forces have emerged seeking to reshape the regime according to their interests. These forces can be divided into Russian influence, restructuring military and security institutions. Russia, which has intervened militarily in Syria since 2015, seeks to weaken the influence of the old guard by restructuring the Syrian army and providing support to new units and leaders more loyal to Moscow. Russian forces have reorganized the 4th Division and the Republican Guard, and Moscow has increasingly taken control of major military decisions. B. Iranian influence, expanding control through militias. Unlike Russia, Iran is trying to consolidate its influence by supporting new figures in the regime, especially through the 4th Division led by Mayor al-Assad, Bashar al-Assad's brother, in addition to its affiliated militias such as the Lebanese Hezbollah and the Fatemian Brigade. Iran is supporting new military and economic leaders at the expense of traditional elites, which is causing tensions between the wings of the regime. C. The rise of a new generation of loyal businessmen. With the decline in the influence of some traditional businessmen close to the regime, such as Rami Makhlouf, Bashar al-Assad's cousin, new businessmen supported by Russia and Iran have emerged, such as Samar al-Fawz, Hassam Khaterji, and Keda Toher, who now control vital economic sectors such as oil and trade. Point 3. The most prominent points of conflict between the old and new regimes. A. The conflict over security and military decisions. Russia seeks to reduce the role of traditional security agencies such as the Air Force intelligence, while Iran is trying to keep them as part of its influence in Syria. Some traditional military leaders have been removed or replaced by leaders loyal to Moscow, which has caused tensions within the Syrian army. B. Control over the Syrian economy. Since 2019, the regime has begun a campaign against traditional businessmen such as Rami Makhlouf, which has weakened the influence of the old economic elite. In contrast, new businessmen supported by Russia and Iran have emerged, controlling the most important economic sectors such as port management, oil and gas, and internal trade. C. The future of the Ba'ath Party or the ruling Ba'ath Party has lost much of its influence during the war, especially after major decisions were made outside the party's institutions. Russia and Iran prefer to strengthen the role of figures loyal to them rather than relying on the traditional Ba'ath Party structures. Point 4. What is the fate of this conflict? A. Continuing tensions within the regime. The conflict between the old guard and the new forces supported by Russia and Iran may lead to more dismissals and rearrangement of positions within the state. Some traditional figures in the regime may lose their positions to new faces more loyal to Damascus's external allies. B. Could a split occur within the regime? Although the Syrian regime appeared cohesive throughout the war years, internal conflicts may lead to sharp differences between the different wings. If international pressure increases, some figures may find themselves forced to leave the political scene or ally with new parties. C. Is there a chance to reform the regime? So far, there is no clear indication that the regime is ready to make real political reforms. Despite Russian and Iranian pressure, the regime is likely to continue to consolidate its rule through security services and new loyalties rather than adopting fundamental changes. Conclusion: where is Syria headed? The conflict between the old and new regimes in Syria is part of a broader battle over the future of the country, as internal and external forces attempt to reshape power to suit their interests. With continued Russian and Iranian influence, economic crises, and international isolation, Syria appears set to remain an arena for internal and external conflicts for years to come. Although Assad remains in power, the balances within his regime are shifting, which could put Syria at a crossroads in the coming years, as either the regime continues to adapt to the changes, or we witness divisions that could redraw the political landscape in unexpected ways.